The ding-dong affair in the glass house of the Nigerian Football Federation continues as we continue to wait, and some have said, how long can we wait for the announcement of a substantive coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? It is barely less than 40 days to the crucial World Cup qualifier against the Bafana Bafana of South Africa, who are coming here to Nigeria for that match in Uyo. And of course, the follow-up game against the Republic of Benin, far away in Abidjan. How long will we continue to wait for the announcement of a substantive coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? And what effect is this going to have on the team as the build-up to our World Cup qualification continues? We'll be addressing all that today on HotSports Super Eagles podcast. First, let us whet your appetite by looking at what the dramatis personae, the main players who will be donning this green, white, green, or the national colors of the Super Eagles when the qualifiers come up. Far away in Italy, where we have the Serie A this weekend, we'll be having AC Milan, of course, with Samuel Chukwueze there starting for them against Juventus. They lost a very golden opportunity last week, handing over the Serie A title, the Scudetto, of course, to their neighbors, Inter Milan. So we'll see how Chukwueze will be performing in that encounter this weekend when they go away to meet Juventus. Also there in the Serie A, we have Victor Osimhen. Will he be staying after the end of the season, or will he remain with Napoli, where he has garnered a lot of victories and, of course, a lot of laurels? It will be Napoli against AS Roma. That will be a very tough encounter anyway, to see how Osimhen will perform in that encounter. And coming back to the English Premier League, where it is hotting up and getting to the last lap of the race, the survival fight will be for Nigerian stars in the Premier League. Of course, we have Nottingham Forest there, who will be trying to see how they can get off the valley of relegation, of course, with Olaino. Two other Nigerians, Alex Iwobi and, of course, Calvin Bassey, will be filing out for Fulham against Crystal Palace. So it will be a loaded weekend for Nigerian stars as we look forward to how they can fine-tune their performance in preparation for the World Cup qualifier. Of course, it is HotSports Super Eagles podcast here as we count down to that crucial encounter to see if Nigeria will be able to clinch a ticket to the World Cup coming up in 2026. With me is a big football idol I have known since my young days in journalism. He's as old as the history of Nigerian football himself. I'm talking about the President General, Nigerian Football Supporters and Other Sports Association, Dr. Rafiu Ladipo.
Thank you very much.
A very strong household name in Nigerian football, I would say.
Thank you very much. That's it.
Doctor, you are very much welcome. How was your experience at the last AFCON? You went there, you tried to garner your people to see if the Eagles will be able to clinch the Africa Cup of Nations for the fourth time. But they were so close.
Well, we were in Côte d'Ivoire to support the Super Eagles players. And I thank God that 24 countries came for that championship. Even though before we left, nobody gave us a chance. I mean, the Super Eagles. But those of us in the supporters club believe in them. We knew they would do their best because it was an opportunity for them to be able to write their names in gold. And that's why I had to carry my members. We didn't have money. We went by road, in buses, in cars. 3 days on the road to Abidjan through Cotonou, Lomé, Accra, name it, until we got to Abidjan. So 3 nights we were on the road. And thank God, we did our best to support the Super Eagles. And we're happy that we came second out of 24 countries that went to take part in that tournament. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because, one, Supporters Club is not being sponsored by the federal government of Nigeria, and indeed not by any state government. Due to the Nigerian Football Federation or the ministry, nobody gives us money. I had to go out to meet my friends who are big enough to assist us. We had companies that gave us money. And it was that money that we got from the companies that we used not only in paying for our hotel accommodation, in feeding the members, in buying some tickets, because the NFF was giving us some tickets which were not enough. How do you, when we started, they were giving us 90 tickets. Until the final day when they gave us 150. What is 150? What is 90? When I had hundreds of supporters that left Lagos to go to Abidjan, I had members coming from Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, Gambia, even from Russia. Some people came, members of the Supporters Club. So we needed money to be able to purchase more tickets so that we would be in large numbers that goes into that stadium, and we're able to give the best of our support to the Super Eagles. Thank God we came second, winning the silver. So it wasn't a bad result.
Massive support, no doubt. You have been in this character of mobilizing the team from time to time, right from Tunisia '94 down to this day. It has been massive support for the Super Eagles. But while you keep spurring up this support, there has been the lingering issue of having a substantive coach for the Super Eagles. It's been waiting for Nigerians all over, and sports-loving Nigerians, football-loving Nigerians. Well, how do you think will this in any way affect the team?
I want us to know that employing a coach that is worthy of that position is very important. There are so many things attached to the job of a coach. Human management is there. The technicalities of the game is there. How you relate not just with the players, but even the Nigerians. So I am not going to blame the NFF for this little bit of delay, but I'm only going to urge them to give us a coach that will make us happy and proud. A coach that has that capability and the capacity to manage the players. I was listening to one of the former players some time ago, Jonathan Napoborire, who was saying that the Nigerian players don't respect the coaches, the Nigerian coaches. Why not? You all played in this country. The best of Nigerian players started from this country. I would let people know that in 1980, I was the one that led the team into the field of play at the National Stadium. And I can still tell you what we did in supporting the Green Eagles then to win that Cup of Nations for the very first time. I can also tell you what we did in Tunisia '94 before we won the Cup of Nations. In 2013 in South Africa, the same. But I want to let you know that if the players don't respect the coaches, such a player doesn't need a place in the Super Eagles. You must respect the player, the coach, no matter how much you're earning. He's your boss. So I want to plead with the players, one, to start respecting their coach. Whether it's a Nigerian coach or a foreign coach. And I tell you, the very best thing we have is that we have some Nigerian coaches that have played the game of football and have also coached some teams. So let's give the NFF the time to select their coach, which is a coach that I'm saying must be a good coach that will make us all happy and proud. Let us not rush them. I know within the next few days, the NFF will make an announcement on who this next Super Eagles coach will be.
PJ, if you have the opportunity, who would you pick between a foreign manager and an indigenous manager for the Super Eagles at this point?
I prefer a Nigerian coach. A Nigerian coach that is patriotic. A Nigerian coach that will take our money, stay in Nigeria, live in Nigeria. A Nigerian coach that understands the pattern of play and the mentality of a Nigerian player. And a Nigerian coach who will not shy away from going to Calabar, from going to Ibadan, from going to Kano, from going to everywhere to discover players. He may not personally go there, but he has been there before. That's why I was saying it some time ago that we need the technical department of the NFF to get some consortium of coaches that will go to the states to witness all that goes on in our league matches and be able to recommend a potential player to the coach. After all, some of these players, we recommended them. I am the one that kept the Kanos, the Orumas, the Babayaros, Udini and the rest, Manga Mohammed and the rest in my hotel. They left my hotel to go to Japan in 1993. The national stadium was not good enough. I wrote for the release of the Volkswagen playing ground, which was given to me. And I will be the one to drive them to the field in the morning, even in the afternoon. And at the end of the day, they went to the World Cup and came back as champions. Those are the players we are proud to say we have in those days. But then, the Nigerian player, some of them can still be fans. If we discover them and we are ready to assist them, they could become good players. So my take is, I would prefer a Nigerian coach who will be paid in Naira and who will not be held by the NFF. The federal government told us that they are not ready to pay any foreign coach. That the NFF must go and look for their money to pay whosoever will be the coach. A situation where we employ a coach and we are unable to pay him his salaries will not be too good for Nigeria. If you don't pay a worker his wages, forget it. He's not going to give his best. So I want the NFF to look for money, get a Nigerian coach who will collect his salary in Naira and then give us what we are talking of.
You saw that nerve-cracking game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Bafana Bafana of South Africa at the just concluded Africa Cup of Nations. This team is coming to Nigeria, and on June 3, it will be Nigeria-South Africa again in a World Cup qualifier, followed up by another game against Republic of Benin. How do you see our chances?
Well, our chances is bright. We defeated Cote d'Ivoire, Bafana Bafana in Abidjan. That match was a match that I will not forget. That was a match, we scored the second goal, and just going to pass the ball at the center, we were called back that there was an infringement before then, and they now gave a penalty, and they scored. Thank God. God of soccer was on our side. Do you know we lost a Nigerian on that day? One of the wealthiest Nigerians in Cote d'Ivoire collapsed and died. And some few others died. About 6 people died because of that match. May their souls rest in peace. But I tell you, Bafana will not come here and beat us. We have learned our lessons. We missed the last World Cup because we failed to beat Ghana here. And what happened? Ghana went to the World Cup at our expense. So this time around, I plead with the NFF to please announce the coach, if not today, but early next week, so that the coach will resume and start to do his job properly. Because if you leave too many things unattended to, particularly the employment of a coach, it's not going to go well for Nigeria. So I believe the NFF now, they must have made their decisions. Maybe it is only the announcement that we're waiting. Let us keep our fingers crossed and see if today they didn't mention a coach, by Monday, Tuesday, they must be able to announce a coach.
As the fever for the World Cup qualifier rages on, I know the supporters base will also be having its own strategy. How strong is the supporters base of the Nigerian football supporters and other sports?
Well, the supporters club, thank God, we've been there for 66 years now. And it's on record that we have supported the Nigerian teams to several success stories. We're still strong. Unfortunately, somehow we got divided. We all knew why we got divided. There are 1 or 2, 3 other supporters clubs. But what are they trying to do? To support the players. And I've advised that even though you have formed your own supporters clubs, you know, a mechanic, an apprentice mechanic, when he goes to learn the trade of mechanic, at a point in time he wants to be free, maybe because they thought of freedom, they now went to form their own. But still as a mechanic, you have to do the job of a mechanic. You can't do that of a carpenter. So if you are in your club, so to say, Nigeria is one country. It's our country, and we have to do everything humanly possible to give that country, our country, a befitting image. And how do we do that? If we are supporting the players and we are forgetting that we are ambassadors of Nigeria, that will be too bad. All of us should come together. I've been pleading and I've been preaching this to them, that we must come together as one to support the Super Eagles and all the national teams playing for us. Anything short of that will not be too good. Recently, I read something online where the players were complaining that the various supporters clubs have been dishing out songs and drummings in different styles that affects their pattern of play. That is not expected. We must change. We must accept that the supporters club is one. After all, what songs are you singing? It's the same song that I composed with my members way back in the 80s and 90s. That is the same song we are giving to the players. And the players understand those songs. Those songs are messages sent to them every time, asking them to do what is expected of them at a particular point in time. So if you are in the stadium, let's sing together the same song, the same style, so that our players will understand that we are there for them.
So you just mentioned this fragmentation of different factions of the Nigerian Football Supporters Club. Is there any hope of mending this, or will it continue to be in these splitted platforms?
There is a big hope of bringing them back together. I've been talking to all of them. I've been talking to some big wigs in Nigeria who will make it possible for us to see the supporters club as one, an entity that will continue to support the Super Eagles in unison and at peace. We want to, the Supporters Club is a group that every country of the world wants to emulate. The drumming, the blowing of trumpets, the painting of faces and bodies started with the Nigerian Football Supporters Club. And that is what other countries are doing. So we have to continue to be in that light. Remember that in 1994, the Nigerian Football Supporters Club was adjudged to be the best in the world by FIFA. In 1994. So also in 1996, during the Atlanta Olympic Games. And in Africa, the CAF, they have given us the best award to the Supporters Club several times. So we must continue in that stride. We cannot afford to go down. Let us continue to be that group that every other country wants to emulate.
The 8 years of the last football administration in Nigeria was like survival of the fittest for your own faction of the Nigerian Football Supporters Club.
Yes.
How would you describe those turbulent times?
Well, really it was turbulent, but you see, if you are focused, you don't get such a thing to make you depressed. It's a thing that I've given my life to do. I don't make money from football. I rather spend my money into football. I spend my time, deprive myself of so many things. If anybody cares to know, I became the first national president of all the freight forwarders and client agents in Nigeria in 1986. That was way back before I became the national chairman of the Supporters Club in 1990. So I make my money from importation, from export, from clearing of goods, from so many things. I'm an hotelier, I have hotels. I told you I kept Kanu and the rest in my hotel at Egbe in 1991, 92. I was the one who sent them to Japan in 1993. I became the proprietor of the Oyo State Transhotels in 1989. Before I even became the chairman of the Supporters Club. So I make my money from the port. Ironically, people believe, oh, this man makes money from football. No. I use my money to serve this country because I believe in Nigeria. And if you see anybody that is more patriotic than this man, bring it, man. I don't have money from football. I spend my money and time into football. So that period of turbulence, well, it has come and gone. We have learned our lessons. We will not allow a repeat of what happened.
Back into looking at your contributions, very massive contributions to the growth of Nigerian football, with the massive support which you have enjoyed by getting people across all ages, from youths to the old generation, to pull out a strong support for the success of the national teams. When you look back at these positive contributions you have made, any regrets?
Well, first and foremost, I don't have a regret. Rather, I have to thank God for my life, because severally I've been faced with a lot of challenges, even to the extent that 1, 2, 3 times the airplanes we traveled with would have crashed, but God saved us. However, I want Nigerians to know that it takes somebody who God has given the gift and the vision to run the Supporters Club. I registered the Supporters Club. Supporters Club had been there before me, but they were not doing nothing. They were only going to the field to clap. No formal recognition. I decided to register it in 1990, and after which I took it to all the states of the Federation. After which I went to Cote d'Ivoire in 1992 to launch. I went there physically to launch the Supporters Club. Who would have thought that we will be going to to Cote d'Ivoire in 2024. I put that club in place in 1992. From there, I moved to Ghana, Gambia, Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo. And by 1994, I moved, 1995, I went to the United States, in New Jersey, and I launched the Supporters Club. From where I moved to Paris, moved to Holland, Japan, Italy, Germany, Ireland, UK, China, Chile, Canada, Russia, name it, all the countries where football is played. I went there physically to launch them. So for me, I am happy that what nobody gave a chance is now what everybody wants to lead. A group now that you never gave a chance, you call us beggars, people without education, no good means of living. But I came, I changed the face with my members, of course, because you can't do it all alone. So having done all these things, Supporters Club is in all the countries of the world. I don't know of how many countries of the world will come to tell us that they have their own Supporters Club in Nigeria. But I can boldly say that I have Supporters Club, Nigeria Football Supporters Club, in all the countries where football is played. And I went there to launch and inaugurate them. So I'm not regretting. It has given me a very good and big image. Wherever I go, everybody knows who is Rafiu Ladipo. Sometimes you will see the CNN, BBC, VOA, all of them coming to my office to interview me. When we went to London in 1994 to play that game at the Wembley, I led the Supporters Club, 30 members of the Supporters Club to the field. And we were beating our drums and blowing our trumpet on the streets of London. And all the white people, they came out. Who are these people? By the time we got to the stadium, they said we cannot go into the stadium with the drumming implements. And I asked for the most senior security officer. And they took me to a commissioner of police. And I had to sign an undertaking that we will not use the implements to injure anybody. If we do, they should get me arrested. And the man allowed. We played the game. As we were beating our drums, the whites, the English people joined us and they were dancing with us. Even after the match, we were beating 1-0. We kept on drumming. And they came. Why are you still drumming? You have just been beaten. And I told them, in a football game, somebody has to win. And if you lose, you don't lose your head. Everybody has the right to get angry, but you don't have the right to lose your head. From that point, they took me to BBC London to go and educate the English fans how to support their football without being violent. That alone is something that makes me happy. 5 times I've been at the BBC where I would be talking to them and teaching them how to support football. The same thing in France. So I am fulfilled now that what I believed in, what I fought for, is now what has become the norm all over the world. All these people wanting to be president and the rest, they want to be like Ladipo. But can you do what Ladipo has done? 13 years of my life, I was the one who was the flag bearer for the Nigerian team. When the Odegba, me, the Chukwu, the Mudashiru Lawal, Adoke, Amesimak, all of them will be playing, I'll be the only one to go and meet them in the dressing room to tell them that it is time for you to come to the field. I am the one that will go and inspect the dressing room all over the world. So, Oga, I am fulfilled. I am happy. So if there's any regret, I don't think I have. Of course, there have been challenges. And those challenges are not insurmountable.
And finally, PG, when you look back at the golden years of the Nigerian national team, the 90s, and then counting down to our time, would you say at this point that we are making progression? Is there progress, or we are just there?
Of course, in the 80s, I told you we won the Cup of Nations for the very first time. Then until 1994. And before then, we didn't go to the Senior World Cup. But after the 1994 Cup of Nations, which we won in Tunisia, and we had already qualified to be part of the World Cup, Senior World Cup. We went to the World Cup, and then we gave a very good account of ourselves. I mean, the players did well to the extent that FIFA rated us to be the 5th best in the world, and rated the Supporters Club of Nigeria as the best in the world. We took that, the momentum to Atlanta 96. And you saw what happened in Atlanta. When we were playing, we had to play the Brazilians during the first round of the game, and we lost 1-0. When we continued with the game, fortunately, we qualified again to meet the same Brazil that had already defeated us 1-0. And we met them in the semi-final. And in the semi-final, you know that Brazil was so strong. But I told my men that we are winning Brazil, we are defeating them. Why? I had that conviction. I had God talking to me that you will win this match. How? We were downstairs in a house, all of us. And somebody just came to me, why are you here? This is not your place. Go upstairs. And when we went upstairs, we started singing victory song. Then I got convinced that we will win the match. So even when Brazil was leading us 3-1, and they were distributing flyers to come and celebrate the defeat of the Nigerian team, they call us the African Giants. Little did they know that they will be beaten. And because God had already spoken to me through his angels, that we win. You could remember, I want you to remember, that I did some songs with my members. It's a miracle working God. It's a miracle working God. He's the Alpha and Omega. It's a miracle working God. And they gave us a penalty. 25 minutes to the end of the game. A Nigerian player took it and lost. And people started trooping out. I said, don't go out. We're winning this match. One of my members said, Chairman, why are you talking like this? What's wrong with you? Against Brazil 3-1, I said, we are winning. As we are doing it, thank God, the miracle started happening. We scored the second goal. By the time we scored the second goal, the then Minister of Sports, Chief Jim Wobodo, left his seat to come and meet me and my group on our stands and ask, I heard your song. You are talking of miracle. Are we going to say miracle today? I say, Your Excellency, there's a miracle. Then I changed my song. I have a Father who never fails. I have a Father who never fails. I have a Father who never fails. Who never fail, who never fail, forevermore. Amen. Jesus never fail. Amen. Jesus never fail. Amen. Jesus never fail. Jesus never fail. Jesus never fail, forevermore. What happened? We scored the third goal, the equalizer. And after that equalizer, it became a sudden death affair.
The golden goal.
The golden goal. Boya chuku na Gaza. Boya chuku na Gaza mere. Mesaya yo biuma. Boya chuku na Gaza. Give your trouble, give it to God. He will solve your trouble for you. That's the meaning. And before you knew it, the ball was coming to Kanu. What did he do? Chested the ball, controlled it, fling the ball to the left of the goalkeeper. And it was a goal, 4-3. And Brazilians started crying.
That was the end of the match.
When Nigeria beat Brazil, when Nigeria beat Brazil, oh, Beto start to cry. When Nigeria beat Brazil, that was how we defeated them. And of course, Argentina was waiting. They had already qualified for the final. They were waiting for us to meet them. The same thing happened. Argentina was leading us 2-1, and through the same process, we defeated them 3-2. But I must say it, I don't want to praise anybody, but you must give praise to those who deserve it. After winning that game, you know who came to me? It was Aliko Dangote. And said, Doctor, I will give these guys 5 million naira if they win the trophy. And he said we should go and meet the players in the dressing room. But they didn't allow us to go into the dressing room. Aliko got tired and went home. But when I was waiting, when the Canoes came out in their bus, they saw me outside and I joined them. And I told them what Aliko told me. They didn't believe it. I said, okay, don't worry. I went to Aliko's house in Atlanta. And I told him that the players did not believe what I told them. Then Aliko brought out his card and signed that we give them 5 million naira should they defeat Argentina.
That was in 96.
In 96. I now took the card to Kanu and his men. That was when they believed it could happen. Because a lot of Nigerians have promised them before they won't do it. When they won, I went back to Aliko. It is time. He invited all the players and all the Nigerians with the team and members of the supporters club to his house. And they gave us a lavish dinner. Then Kanu walked up to me. Chamo, he calls me Chamo. Where's our money? And I went to tell Aliko. I said, President, look, these guys are asking for their money. He called Nigeria immediately. And they forwarded a check for 5 million naira for the players. And when he was to hand over the check, I said, okay, this is for the players. What about the supporters club? He said, I'm giving you 10%. Then he gave us 500,000. So if things like that were happening, Nigerians needed to have capitalized on the gains of that period to improve on our football. Well, what happened to us? We forgot. And we left everything as if these players, the Canoes and the rest, will serve us forever. We need a situation where now you are playing, you must know that your players one day will get tired. They are aging. By the time they get to 35, 40, what manner of football would they play anymore? So we needed to capitalize that time. That, look, there's going to be a time these players will no longer be fit enough, strong enough. But we forgot. And that was how we lost the momentum. And that happened to us. It affected us since then. It has been like a Dazika, like, do well today, not do well tomorrow. So I believe it affected us. But now we should learn from that experience. The Nigerian Football Federation and everybody that is a football person, genuine football person, must realize that when you have a team, you need a backup. A backup. Feeder players, feeder team players that will mature one day and be fit enough to play in the senior team. That we don't do in Nigeria. And that is why we're having problems. If we can get this done, fine. You remember there was a time when there were school games, the academicals, the Tamujin Cup, and the rest, and the rest, and the rest. That was where many players were discovered. But we have forgotten it. Sometime 2 years ago, the Principal's Cup came alive. I championed it. The then Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, gave us the opportunity to do it. And we did it so very well. But since then, have they continued? So we must learn that no matter how good a player will be today, there's going to be a time that what we call diminishing returns sets in. And that is why we need all these young ones playing all over. They are there all over. You can just see them in several corners playing. Let us realize that these players that are playing right now will be tired one day. Let's get the young ones, train them, support them, and they become champions of tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rafiu Ladipo, for joining us on the HotSports Super Eagles podcast today.
Thank you very much. And I say God continue to bless HotSports. God continue to bless Nigeria, because that is our country. And if we have a company like this, the best thing is for us to continue to pray for you to rise higher and higher. God bless you.
And that is HotSports Super Eagles podcast for today, as we get prepared for another loaded weekend of football action. You can join us on all our social media platforms. And please, please, please watch our enticing and captivating videos on YouTube. Until then, do have a very wonderful weekend.